Hello, welcome back. It's a new day. We are recovering from our agony of defeat in the first playthrough, and as promised, I am getting right back on the wagon, and we're going to try again. I did make an errata video. There was one major thing somebody pointed out to me, and I actually didn't believe them at first. And when I read the rules, it was like, well, it could be interpreted either way, and it wasn't quite clear, so I had to actually go to Board Game Geek and figure it out. And that rule was, he stated that the extended rules don't actually apply until turn 17, period. And the thing that gets confusing is the rule book says, unless otherwise specified. So then, when you hear that, unless otherwise specified, you see that it changes the way the German fire phase works, and there's stuff in there that you're like, hey, hold on a second, that means we have to change it. So anyways, long story short, I know I probably brought it up 30 times, that these units right now in this situation, this red has 3 units, right? It has 2 regular nests and then a depth. So in the basic game, these guys can do 3 hits. But then I was saying they can do 6 in the extended game. And so that's how we played the last playthrough, is we were doing, this could do 6 hits. This one, for example, could do 2 hits. The clarification that is confirmed on Board Game Geek is that I did it wrong. I was being way over punitive. In other words, we played this game a lot harder than we needed to. So I'm standing here, sitting actually, but we lost that first one, and I'm gritting my teeth because there's a big freaking asterisk next to that. I think that we would have been in much better shape if we weren't playing by those extended rules. Now, I started to think, well, why did I understand this wrong? And then I went back to the Dan Likos videos, the ones that I mentioned helped me to learn this game, and sure enough, he explained it that way as well. He's like, well, if you're explaining the extended game, this is how it would work, but we're only doing the basic game, so we're going to play it this way. Here's the irony in it. The person on Board Game Geek who helped me to eventually figure this out was Dan Likos himself. He ended up realizing he interpreted the rule wrong, so he posted on Board Game Geek to get confirmation, and sure enough, people confirmed it for him, and that was how I got my answer. So his video actually teaches it wrong. I don't blame him. I got 100 things I teach wrong in my videos, and I do try to make these erratas and clarify them whenever I can. But anyways, that's sort of how this has propagated, right? Because his videos are so good, he taught it wrong, and then I ended up teaching it wrong. Well, I'm going to try to teach it right, and I did make the errata video to do that. But this is huge and it's mind-blowing because it does mean that at the end of the basic game, we can count our victory points, and it's actually like 2 games in 1 now. You could just quit right there, or you could keep going. And it's no longer like I was explaining before, where you have to decide at the start that I'm going to do the extended game, so therefore I have to do, different rules. It's not that way at all. You can play the exact same way for the basic game, see your score, write it down, and then keep going, and then see your score and write it down. How awesome is that? That is so much better. I cannot tell you how joyful I am about that. So what were the extended rules versus basic rules? The big one was the doubler, like I said. And the other one is let's say this red unit hits you here, because you're on this spot, right? So let's say we drew a red and a blue. If red hit this spot, blue also hits that spot. But if your unit takes damage, it takes damage. That's it. It's only once per turn. We were playing the extended rules, which is that if both of these units hit that spot, it takes 2 hits. So a lot of our infantry units and catastrophic losses were the direct result of taking 2 hits. So I can't stress enough that drastically changes this game. I was even recommending to people, you know what, you should play the basic game because it's less punitive. Well, here it is. We don't have to make a choice. We do play the basic game, and then we just play the extended one later. So I'm sorry I beat that dead horse so much, but it makes a huge, huge difference. And so I got everything shuffled. Everything's ready to go. I did also catch one other thing. You do need to score a minimum of 11 victory points in the basic game in order to be able to qualify for the extended game. So you can't just muck around and say, well, I'm doing the extended game, and it doesn't matter. It completely matters. And so how would we do that? Well, first of all, every nest is worth 1 point. And the double nest, you have to take out both of them, and then you get 2 points. So it's not 2 points each. It's just, they're still only worth 1 point each, but you have to take out both of them to get credit for it. It's these draws. These draws are worth 5 victory points if you control the spots behind the barrier here. So this barrier. So we need to control the spots behind it. And if you control all the spots behind it, you get 5 victory points. So that just means, another thing to understand is that infantry, control its own spot and then everything around it. But other units like tanks and whatnot only control the very spot it's on. So that's, something we have to bear in mind. And the other thing is when we get to the extended game, we learned that, for example, a spot like this, if it can get communication to the road, this spot will reinforce itself potentially. And that's awful. I mean, we spent how much blood, sweat, and tears to clear this out. We don't want this to be retaken. So we have multiple goals. Obviously, we have to reduce our catastrophic losses compared to last game. The second one is we need to take these draws. And if we take these nests, I'm going to park a unit on the nest to make sure that that nest doesn't fall again. Because if we have units on every nest, then there is very little chance that someone's going to come back and reinforce it. Now, these spots here do get reinforcements per events and things like that. And I'm learning that I don't care about them as much. Obviously, maybe over here, this one popped in on us and that hurt us a lot. But that's because it's so close to the nest that we took over. And so maybe we would take him out. But there's no rush to go deep into the board in the early part of the game. We also learned that the headquarters are extremely important. They turn into command posts, and we need them to get up on the high ground, and they can have a huge area of the board that they control. So we want to get our headquarters to a point where they can get up on that high ground, if we can. The other thing we want to do is we understand now that the engineering units do clear the beach, and they start clearing these walls and even remove these shingles. So our tanks can start taking the road and getting up to where they need to be. So that takes time. It doesn't happen immediately on turn 17. And the engineering units also put garrisons in these nests once their control gets big enough. So another reason why we have to park a unit on the nests and guard the nests until the engineers can get their bases in place. So there's a lot going on. And I think for the basic game, our goal is to take out these nests and stay put. And then just position ourselves so that we're ready to push with our headquarters deeper into the game when the time comes. I don't think for a minute that just because this is less punitive that we're going to be sitting on turn 10 and just saying, okay, well, we got 7 turns to wait. I don't think that way at all. I think it's going to take all 17 turns to take out some of these nests. I think some things are just not going to go our way. I think we still get super lucky based on what we draw. And anyways, I'm 9 minutes in. Let's go ahead and get started. So if you may remember, the first round uses a special table where if we get the A result, that's the best result. The second one is eliminated, or lose a step and drift. So all 3 of these are awful, B being the most awful. So we want an A result if we can. And only one shape is going to get an A result. I mean, that's guaranteed. So here we have 2 circles, a triangle, and a diamond. The best we can, we have 2 diamonds, a circle and a triangle. the best we can hope for is that the 2 diamonds are the A result. That's the best possible outcome on the East Beach. And then on the West Beach, we want the circle to be the A result. Otherwise, one of these tanks is getting hit, or at least 2 of these tanks are getting hit, and at least 2 of those are getting hit. And some of them might even be eliminated depending on how bad the draw is. So it is absolutely impossible for all 4 of these to land on the beach unharmed. So these early tanks do take a beating. At least one of them will land at full strength. So let's get started. We're gonna do the East first. And you can see the A result is actually, hold on a second. Look, there's 2 A results here. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was possible. So this is awesome. The triangle and the circle are A results. We did say that the diamond was going to be the best, but the diamond is eliminated. So this one and this one are both destroyed. So we have already lost 2 tanks, but we do have 2 tanks that get spared. And that is what we wanted, right? We wanted 2 of them to be spared. I was hoping that at least 2 tanks would have been able to land on the beach, even if they took a hit. But we have no tanks on the beach at all with that card. So it is possible to have more than 1 A result. So that part is promising. So let's see what we get here. Here we don't. The triangle is B. So this one is eliminated. The C, which is the circle, lands but takes a hit. So both of these guys take a hit, but they do land. And then the A does get delayed. So we saved 1, but the other 2 at least landed. And 1 was eliminated. All right, so we lost 3 of the 8 tanks, and only 2 of the 8 tanks actually landed. We're supposed to skip the event on the first turn. The German fire, there's nobody on the beach, so I hope you don't mind. We're not going to do German fire. There's also no artillery, but I do have to place all of these units. We have a giant stack of units here that are going to be coming onto the beach, and we will do German fire on that side. Just give me a second while I take care of this. So we have some infantry, some rangers, and there's some more tanks coming. Tanks for all the fish. Isn't that what the whales said when they left the earth? Tanks for all the fish. See, I don't get feedback when you're just doing a video to yourself. It's just pure silence, so you don't know if anybody's getting your joke or not. ER3. Okay, so this beach has everything there, and so now we're gonna draw a fire card for the West Beach. Okay, so we have purple and green and red and green. So there is a red, and it's a circle, and but there's no armor. So he doesn't take any damage, and that's it. Remember, this doesn't happen until turn 4. The artillery, and that's it. Nothing happens. So they at least don't take any more damage. And all right, we don't do another event. We don't do engineering phases because the engineering phase people just landed along with the tanks. And that's the end of the first round. So we move to round 2. It is 6:30 a.m. I don't think I can remember the last time I woke up at 6:30 a.m. I guess I did once this last week, but it wasn't by choice. All right, I'm sure they didn't want to wake up at 6:30 either. Okay, so we need to land. So we are now on turn 2. So things change, right? It's not as brutal, but you can see here that they can still take a hit on an outcome of C, the tanks. The infantry don't take hit, they just drift, which is good, right? And then the Dog and Charlie beaches, which is where the Rangers are, They can also drift. But so there's no way to take hits, which is good. But the tank could still take a hit if it's a C result. So that's the only thing we got to be concerned about. All right, so let's go ahead and go here. All right, so the triangles are A. So let's just resolve the triangles first. The tank is no effect, so he lands. The, oh, I totally forgot. We get an action phase. Let's stop. These two would have gotten an action phase, so I could charge them into their doom, or I can try to do a barrage. So we're going to do 2 barrages because I don't see any value in losing my tanks trying to charge across at the moment. So we're going to do 2 barrages, and who we're going to barrage. Since they're a strength 2, I would need a perfect match if I'm going against a double. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go after this green here, which means as long as I get the color, I win, and I don't. So then I'm going to go after the green with this one, and I don't. So 2 cards got me no results. So that would have been my 2 actions, by the way. Okay, going back to here. Okay, so the diamond was A, and so, okay, I don't know why I landed a triangle. The diamond was A. This is the only one that's an A. And so he drifts 4 boxes east. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he lands. Okay, the triangle is a B. So the triangle for the tank, he drifts 1 box east and then he lands. And then this one drifts 2 boxes east and lands. And this one's a diamond over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We got another one of those situations where an infantry landed all the way off on the edge, and that one's going to be a bear to get back into the game. Okay, so then the circle is a C, which is the bad one. So that means this one's taking a hit, and we didn't like that because now we got a tank at half strength, and this one is also a C. He's drifting 9 boxes east. Holy cow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then he goes off the map, so he gets delayed by 2 turns. So he'll come back on turn 4. So that's what happens to him. Now we go to the west. So the diamonds are a C. So let's look at the diamonds. We don't like C's. So this tank takes a hit. This one is a 9 boxes east. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it lands there. It is now considered to be under control of the other side. Okay, and then the triangle and the circle are both A's. So for the tank, it's no effect, and then for the infantry, it's 4 boxes east, and for the rangers or anybody that's on DG or Charlie, Dog Green or Charlie, it's no effect. So, and just remember, when rangers have no effect, they can actually choose to drift on their own. Okay, let's just do this. So this was a no effect. This is a, since it's an A, it's 4 boxes east. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 2 of them that drifted off. Then we come over to here, and this is just a regular infantry, so he has to just land. But the ranger could, for example, try to land over here. There's really not much difference. You can see that the blue and the purple are the same, and the fact that this brown's here doesn't matter because there's nothing in the brown. The, you know, getting to here is really functionally, the only difference is you have like a purple there, whereas this blue is a little better. So what I will do is I'll let him drift 1 to the west and then land there. Because the idea is we want the ranger to climb this cliff and then annihilate the crap out of that. So let's do that. And I do got to make a quick check. This ranger drifting thing hardly ever comes up. So I just need to make sure I did it right. A Ranger unit that receives a no-effect landing on turn 4 or later may voluntarily drift 1 to 4 hexes east, but not west. And it says specifically it does not apply to this Ranger, so I just moved it 1 spot this way. It's probably not going to be that big of a deal, but that doesn't happen until turn 4, and sure enough, it is listed on my cheat sheet. It's just that we're not at turn 4 yet, so I wasn't looking there. Okay, all right, so that's the landing. Now we do start drawing event cards and then German fire. So for our event, take a naval fire marker. Okay, we like that. We like naval fire. So right there, we got our naval gunfire marker. And place a German reinforcement in Zone C. We don't necessarily care for that, but the German fire marker is worth it. So we go over here to Zone C. Where are you? And it looks like he's gonna go right there, and brown. Okay, so we did that. Now it's peanut butter German time. All right, so we first have orange. And orange is definitely firing. He's going after triangles. There is a triangle here, but orange can't hit armor, so no damage done. Nobody else is in orange. Purple is firing after triangles, and he's not a triangle, so we're safe there. Then we go to green, and they're going after triangles, and unfortunately, we take a hit. So there's 1 hit, and that's it. Nobody else takes a hit. So I guess that was an okay outcome. Now let's do the engineer phase right while we have this card out. So orange, purple, and green are all over on this side. So that means red and blue. So we got 4 spots here. And so I'm going to go after this spot and this one, because those are the 2 harder spots to get. Obviously the brown could happen. So actually we got to draw the next card to make sure that a brown isn't on it. And if a brown's not on this next card, we could potentially do those 2. There is a brown on the next one, so I did the only 2 that I could do. Okay, so now coming over to here, it's a double purple. So purple is hitting, and they hit armor. It's a triangle, and if we look at the purple, you can see that our Ranger does take a hit, which would have happened even if we could have drifted like we tried to do, but Ranger takes a hit, so that one stinks badly. The green fires at triangle, and nobody takes a hit. And then the double brown fires at triangle, but they don't hit armor, and the only armor was there, so there's nothing we can do. So we got to do the, so purple eliminates almost everything over here except for this spot way at the end. This one's not a purple. Green goes all the way to there, and then brown starts here. So we have a clear marker there where brown and green are not at, and then we have another clear marker all the way down at the end, and we can just put that in place there. Okay, so that ends that. And so now we're going to get to the American actions, and I'm going to take some time to think about it and then go answer my door before my dog starts barking. So I got to end this real quick, and I will see you in just a few seconds.